Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Baseball playoffs today. Tariq Skubal starts for the Tigers at Cleveland in Game 2. Detroit up 1-0, while the Royals send Cole Reagan to the mound against Carlos Rodon in the Bronx against the Yankees. New York up 1-0. The Padres pounded the Dodgers 10-2 to even that series at a game apiece. David Peralta and Jackson Merrill each hit 2-run homers. Game 3 is Tuesday. The Padres will send Michael King to the mound. The Dodgers haven't announced their starter yet. The Phillies and Mets are tied at a game apiece after Philadelphia rallied for a 7-6 win over New York. Nick Castellanos hit an RBI single in the 9th to win it. He also hit a solo homer in the 6th. Mark Vientos went deep twice for the Mets. Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo also hit homers. Sean Manaea starts for the Mets at home on Tuesday, while the Phillies will go with Aaron Nola.
Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Stirring fiber, exercising, frequent trips to the store for more laxatives and fiber. Sounds like your constipation with belly pain is a lot to manage. But if your symptoms that keep coming back are signs of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation or IBS-C, ask your doctor how Linzess can help you get ahead of it. Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LANZESS.
No way football is playing in the fall and winter.
Because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The only place in football where the offense is always on the field is on Moneyline. With the two best hosts in radio, Donnie Rightside.
If anybody wasn't watching, listen, I don't know what you were doing.
And Kevin Walsh.
Forget act like you've been there before.
On the SportsGrid Radio Network, Sirius XM Channel 159.
I mean, my goodness, the topics today as hot as they could possibly be for a Monday. It's Armchair Quarterback Monday. The best hour every day now is officially underway. It's Moneyline. It's Donnie Rightside. It's Kevin Walsh. It's Sirius XM Channel 159. It's the chat box. It's SportsGridRadio.com. It's the SportsGrid app. Everybody's in tune. Why? Because we had unbelievable college football, craziness in the NFL. And from that little, prelude into the show, sounds like a Phillies crowd in that background as they were finally able to erupt yesterday. The Yankees have a lead. There's 2 baseball games today. There's 2 more tomorrow. There might just not be enough time in this show today, Kevin, to get to it all.
Yeah, a lot on the docket there, no doubt about it. The NFL yesterday, man, it's weird. The straight action was fine, right? I continue to do very well on NFL sides. I'm telling you, Don, in 5 years' time, I'm going to be the old man who doesn't touch props, only bets NFL sides. But some of those parlays that, I know you and I have been betting where you kind of be like, listen, simple, boom, let's walk through the door. Maybe I was taking them one step too far and getting narrow losses. Najee Harris can't get to 50 rushing yards and, things of that nature. It was so funny, man. But yesterday, the conversation for a lot of people was, man, what a full day of NFL begins in London, 9:30, ends at 1 a.m. Wow. And I was up for all of it. And I'm like, man, that stunk. That was not even that fun. What do we have to pretend? Like, how many people saying, "Oh, can we have this every day?" No. I don't want this every day. It was too much.
Torturous all the way through. Torturous on my bets, too. And sometimes you see the writing on the wall. If you would have told me before that San Francisco 49ers game, Brock Purdy would throw 37 times inside the 5-yard line and come away with 1 touchdown. That 1 touchdown he got in the first quarter. Oh, exhale there. And also, as you watched with us live when we were on Pro Football Today, needed 2 more yards out of Breece Hall. Wasn't able to get that. And then at night, I didn't watch a single snap of that game. Had to watch the condensed version. What a comeback by the Dallas Cowboys. Gutty effort. I needed Pat Freiermuth to get 25 yards. He finishes in the low 20s. So I missed out on 2 parlays, Kevin, by 5 total yards combined yesterday in that. So it was exciting. It was crazy. We're going to go over all of it here on the way through. But where do we basically start? Let's start here. What a game it was yesterday. the Ravens and the Bengals. And I said on the show in the morning, I thought the Ravens were the right side. They'd win that game, open up the game like, yep, I'm really confident here. And the floodgates open, and Joe Burrow's like, I'm going to slice and dice with my 2 wide receivers, and you can't do a damn thing about it, Baltimore, only for Lamar to go, yo, I'm an MVP too over this side. They'll watch me spin it all the way through and come away with that victory, which was so damn incredible to watch. And now leaves me with this, Kevin. 1-4 Bengals. They do have some winnable games coming up. But I'm not going to say to myself that they're all winnable because this team is 1-4 with an atrocious defense. Do we start to have the conversation of saying, T. Higgins, I think I can get a 1 for you right now from a desperate team. You got to go because you're not going to be back next year. When does that conversation start on the Bengals?
Man, what a great point or great question to bring up. I think if you are Cincinnati, you kind of look up and say to yourselves, man, we should not be 1-4. Donnie, I think there's an argument that Joe Burrow has been the best quarterback in football through 5 weeks, which is insane to say. And if you are the Cincinnati Bengals, when you look at your losses this season, right, you never should be losing a double-digit home lead with about 5 minutes to go. They lose that football game. The loss to Kansas City was 1 of 1. It was the loss was so bad, people didn't even feel as if the Chiefs got helped by the refs. It was just this egregious penalty, the 4th and 15. I mean, it was so terrible. You never should have lost that game. And then you look at the other 2 losses in your building, Commanders, in your building, Patriots. I know Washington's better. The defense literally didn't get 1 stop in the whole game. Nope. The Patriots are maybe the worst team in the NFL. I mean, probably are the worst team in the NFL. If you are the Cincinnati Bengals, you should be sat there saying, we should be 4-1, at least 3-2. What is going on here? And the fact that they're not, Donnie, it could be one of those seasons where Cincinnati finishes the year 9-8, misses out on tiebreakers, and we go, nobody's going to want to see them. And it's true, but they burn themselves in the first 5 weeks, and they're going to leave themselves short of a postseason spot when they do look like one of the 5 best teams in the AFC, even though the defense is absolutely garbage.
Exactly. And again, they do have a soft point in the schedule, which basically was the opening of their season with a couple games that were absolute surefire victories that they lost. So that's when I say, okay, they play Cleveland coming up, the New York Giants coming up, the Eagles coming up, and let's just say the Raiders, those, and the Eagles game is at home. Hey, we should be favored to win all of them. Well, they should have won more games than 1 through the first 5.
Can I ask you this, though, Donnie? Because sometimes you do a good job of being a little bit more practical than I do. Overtime comes. Bengals get the ball off the Lamar fumble, right? Now they start in good territory. Evan McPherson's one of the 5 or so best kickers in football.
Yes.
3 straight runs, and you settle for around a 50-yarder. I know his nickname's Money McPherson, Donnie, but I mean, really? I don't understand how that's possibly what Cincinnati did in that game. You don't get the ball in Burrow's hands. He's got nearly 400 passing yards.
Exactly. See the 2 top wideouts too. I mean, Chase and Higgins doing whatever they wanted with that secondary. And you always want to stay aggressive. But that's the new NFL where 30-yard field goals are the new 50-yard field goals today at this point. Because apparently, and I remember the Chiefs did that. It's like, hey, we're going to play for a Butker 52-yard. I say, what planet do I live on? Again, Butker make the field goal, and these guys are really good outside of 30-mile-an-hour winds and rainy forecasts. It was just a bad snap that cost him. But I'm always with you. Would anybody been upset if okay, we're in field goal range, not 45 yards in, 50 plus. Oh man, Burrow, what are you doing throwing that pass for an interception? You can't do that. Some people will say that, but most people are like, well, you're supposed to get a little bit closer. Maybe a better play call would have been better. But just to be in a 6-3 game, oh man, this defense is incredible, Kevin. You better take that field goal if you can get it. That wasn't 6-3. That was teams going up and down the field. But credit Baltimore winning different ways, right? Last 2 weeks, ground and pound. This week, and until that 51-yard run by King Henry in overtime, it was really shut down for the most part. But Lamar was spectacular, fantastic. Andrews making catches. I was asking on the pregame show, where the hell has Zay Flowers been? He shows up with over 100 yards. So a fun game, but certainly conversations have to come up where we sit with Cincinnati. You want to have more conversations? Yesterday, first game to start off the day, Jets and the Vikings. The minute that game ended, walked right over to my computer, typed in, Aaron Rodgers, this loss basically is on you, and rightfully so. 3 horrible interceptions. 1 a pick six, 1 an atrocious throw over the middle, which airmailed it right to a safety, and then the final one where he had a chance to win it, Mike Williams is basically a jump ball guy. Go get it. You throw the ball basically at their feet. It gets interception. But even worse than that, Kevin, as we were watching live on the air, Garrett Wilson with a great double move, a wide open pitch and catch, walk into the end zone and win a football game, misses by 10 yards on Garrett Wilson, who, by the way, Kevin, had 22 targets in that game.
Yeah, probably should have had another 22 if you didn't stop throwing the ball. Lazard watched him drop every pass. The vibe around the Jets now for me, Donnie, is similar to when Russell Wilson first showed up in Denver. I was very high on that team. I think you were somewhat high on them as well.
Yeah.
Where, to me, I said, I know the defense is great. If Russell Wilson can get in there and give them solid quarterback play, that's a contender. Well, guess what? This is what the Jets are. That defense is still great. Make no bones about it. Sam Darnold was horrific in that football game yesterday. That defense was completely shut down. And instead, we look at the Jets, and if you were projecting Rodgers to be good enough, I think that was accurate. I thought he would be good enough to be the quarterback to win the last 2 games they've played. He's not. These losses are falling on his lap. They should be sat there with a dominant 4-1 record, and they are instead are now dogs and supposed to fall to 2-4, 3 straight losses.
Hot take. Tyrod Taylor wins that game yesterday against the Minnesota Vikings. How about that, Aaron Rodgers? 2-3 Jets. Oh, my goodness. We'll be back. Many more hot topics on the way right here on Moneyline.
Fall is here. It's getting cooler. Football and the World Series are coming in.
Life is good.
SportsGrid makes it better. Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has declined to step in and immediately decide issues related to mail-in ballots in the Commonwealth, with early voting underway in the few weeks before the November 5th election.
With the SportsGrid News Flash, I'm Trey Westerberg.
This update brought to you by Cintas. The Commonwealth's highest court on Saturday night rejected a request by voting rights and left-leaning groups to stop counties from throwing out mail-in ballots that lack a handwritten date or have an incorrect date on the return envelope, citing earlier rulings pointing to the risk of confusing voters so close to the election. People across Florida were given notice Sunday that Hurricane Milton is intensifying rapidly and will likely be a major hurricane before slamming midweek into the storm-ravaged Gulf Coast. While forecast models vary widely, the most likely path suggests Milton could make landfall Wednesday in the Tampa Bay area and remain a hurricane as it moves across central Florida into the Atlantic Ocean.
I'm Trey Westerberg with the SportsGrid News Flash.
In business, service is everything. Cintas delivers what you need to better serve your customers. Whether it's freshly laundered work apparel for almost any job imaginable, tested and inspected fire protection systems, first aid and safety supplies, on-site AED training, or mops and restroom products, stocked and ready when you need them. Better work days happen together. So visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Extravagant, luxurious, lavish. The $7 Lux Cravings Box from Taco Bell satisfies all your crunchiest, cheesiest, sauciest cravings. Indulge in a beefy 5-layer burrito, chicken chalupa supreme, Doritos Locos Taco, and chips and a drink for an unluxurious price. It's Lux for less. Get yours today at Taco Bell. At participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Drinks excludes freezes. Tax extra.
Days are getting cooler and shadows are getting longer.
You know what that means?
It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Monday's so crazy. There's so many topics we need to hit on Moneyline. College football, pro football, Major League Baseball, WNBA. The reigning champions are out, which, again, gives me a perfect segue here, Kevin, because let's keep the iron hot. And you say, all right, the Aces are now not going to be able to win the WNBA. I don't even want to talk about who's going to win the WNBA championship. Segues right over to college football. The reigning national championships, Kevin, from last year, Michigan, they're officially out at this point. The reason I wanted 100%. To bring that up is not because I even cared about that football game. But, you know, and I wasn't alone, but I said this. After they beat USC, you got to bench Alex George. He's not a good quarterback. That was a fool's gold game that you won. You got to try to find something good. He comes into the Washington game ineffective again. You have a quarterback who's like 36 years old that comes into the game. And I start here with saying a team that just won the national championship with Michigan money behind it, which they could have any booster pay any amount of money they want. And they came into this season. It was almost to me, Kevin, I want to say like, what word can I use? Like Dabo Swinney-esque. We're Michigan men. We build from within. This is what Jim Harbaugh taught us. We have 3 guys here that have bled for the program. They deserve their shot. Congratulations. You're out of the playoff race. It's the first week of October. You have 2 losses, and good luck the rest of the way with your quarterbacks. How do we end up in this spot with Michigan?
So I think that's the biggest thing where Harbaugh, I guess, takes the blame, that they were not able to bring in a legitimate transfer portal option. You're, like you said, you're the defending national champs. You should have had guys lining up to go there.
And also, you just put a quarterback first round into the NFL that didn't even have to show a ton last year. You should have people beating your door down.
And again, the 2 easiest examples to use, forget about high-level guys. Dante Moore decides to go be the backup at Oregon. Malachi Nelson takes a job at Boise State, where he is actually now the backup, by the way. So, those are backup quarterbacks, right? We're not even talking, like, realistically, Donnie, right? I mean, I got the hat on. If Michigan calls Riley Leonard and he still picks Notre Dame, that's kind of weird. Like, they're the defending champs, right?
Yes.
Like, and Riley Leonard's not even been that good, but at least there's a level of oomph that comes at the quarterback position. But I'm being serious. Listen, I know I've defended Alex Orji to a degree that people think like there's got to be something going on here. I look at the coaching staff. I'm not really sure what they're doing. They opened the year with Davis Warren, and everybody, like, you could see it clear as day. It's like, you're starting Davis Warren because he can throw it better than Orji, except he can't throw the football. Okay, so then you had to wait for him to lose to Texas in disastrous fashion, right? Alex Orji gets the football, and they're, again, Donnie, it's a pseudo service academy style thing, except I'm watching it, and they're not even running with Orji that much. Like, he's under center handoff. Like, there's not any creativity or anything of the nature. They fall down 14-0 and bench him. It was the first half. That is not so you bench him now for your 3rd string quarterback. You come in, you get the lead. You can't pick up another first down. Go put Orji. I'm dead serious. Put him back in and go run the football. I feel as if, I'll tell you this. I placed Michigan National Championship futures, taking a shot 35-1. They were a part of the teams that I looked at. And one of the main bases, Donnie, was Sharon Moore, who filled in for Harbaugh last season against both Penn State and bleeping Ohio State and won those games, right? I thought he might have been one of the 5 best coaches in college football. He is having a disastrous season, in my opinion, for the Michigan Wolverines. Disastrous.
To have that running game and that defense and already 2 losses because you're an offensive guy and your offense stinks because you have no passing game, maybe we should have saw it coming. Kevin was like, hey, man, look at that second half. And he says, well, by the way, I don't know how to call pass plays or scheme them up. That's why we ran the ball every play against Penn State. Maybe that was really the MO of that team, and certainly it was Jim Harbaugh calling the strings from, hey, here's your playbook, don't stray from it, and here's what you got. But it's not looking great, and it's specifically just for a quarterback. Like, if Cam Ward was a Michigan Wolverine, they'd be rolling high and muddy. Like, we shut everybody down on defense, and away we go on offense to make plays. They don't, which, again, brings back to, oh, man, we just didn't recruit. No, it's not recruiting well. You can go out, like, look at the kid at Vanderbilt. Put that kid at Vanderbilt on Michigan. He's making plays all over the place for him. They just didn't recruit anybody because you get into that. Dabo Swinney, damn the NIL portal. We're Clemson. This is the way we do it. And that's probably why they'll never win a national championship until he either leaves or says, you know what, we'll hit that portal. Same thing with Michigan. Yes, we won it last year with our guys. Well, now your guys aren't there technically. Get some help. Would anybody look at Michigan different? Let's just say, and again, the best quarterback transfer just might have been, Cam Ward from Miami. If he went to Michigan, would that be like Michigan? Look, I'm not donating now because we're Michigan men and he didn't go here 4 years and we don't know. Yeah. Stop it. You'd be loving life as Michigan trying to win a 2nd straight championship the way it goes. So
I also think Harbaugh played. I know he loves Michigan. I'll just say this. He squeezed every last drop out of that orange. All right, is what I'll say. Because, Donnie, you look at it now and you're like, was Harbaugh going to coach this roster? Like, everyone keeps talking about, hey, they lost a lot of talent. Yeah, so did Georgia. So did Alabama. And Bama lost Saban, so they had to go through that process just like you, right? Where Caleb Downs is on Ohio State instead of sticking at Bama. You don't do that, right? But again, and I know I'm hyping up Bama after the loss to Vanderbilt, but like Donnie, though, you can see that the roster talent, like the fact that Alabama didn't lose Jalen Milroe, right? Like,
yes, correct.
If you are Michigan, you were under the impression that your program was on a new pedestal, right? With that national championship. You are right back now to losing every single game to Ohio State for the next 10 years by 100 points. Congrats. You had a 1-year blip run. That's what it feels like for Michigan, Donnie.
Yep, it does. No, it absolutely does. And we'll see if they can rebound. But it would have been nice just to go out and pay a little bit of money to a quarterback. And I know Portnoy Barstool's like, hey, man, I saw this problem coming. I'm going to rectify it next year. Maybe it's too late. We'll find out. But this year, they're done. Reigning national champions will not win it. But here's my I've been taking laps, and I love this because I told you this is going to be the best college football season that we've ever seen. It's laying out that way. Because think about this, Kevin. Before we get to the break, let me lay this out for you. Let's go to the SEC, my favorite football conference. Yes, I love the Miami Hurricanes. They're unbeaten, but the SEC has always been king. You would be waking up today on a Monday going like, oh, my goodness. Like Georgia's one of the best teams in the country. I can't win the championship now. Oh, Alabama, who beat Georgia the week before, just got upset by Vanderbilt. Boy, that's a shame, SEC. Alabama and Georgia, even though they might be the two best teams in the country still, won't make the National College Football Playoff because there's only 4 teams. They can still all make it. Hey, Tennessee, remember how excited you were to make it? You lost. Oh, well, no, you can still make the College Football Playoff. The single best season we've ever seen is currently underway, and I absolutely love it. It's Moneyline. We'll be right back.
Coming. Don't look like an idiot at work. Know your stuff. Football and everything else. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
Walter needs 2 to break the record.
1984, Walter Payton passes Jim Brown as the NFL's all-time leading rusher.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 to the 26-yard line.
Sweetness finished his career with 16,726 yards, a mark that was surpassed by Emmitt Smith in 2002. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at the University of Waterloo have created a new smart fabric when made into clothing can convert body heat and solar energy into electricity. Super durable with self-powered embedded sensors that monitor air temperature, automatically keeping you warm. Even wilder, monitors your vital signs, including respiration and body temperature. It even detects hazardous pathogens in the air you breathe. There's just one thing you probably don't want to do wearing your electrically charged pants. Shower in them! Follow me at G Capalbo on X and stay tuned to the Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Football full circle.
Falcons priced now to win the NFC South, plus 115.
You got to seal the deal, and turnovers are part of the game, especially when you're on the road. Running the football effectively when you have the lead and closing it out, a bad, costly mistake. I mean, we'll see if he learns from that. They gave the game to Atlanta in the end.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
I got a hot take. I wanted to save this one. I let it rip this morning because I didn't see the final statistics until today as we were actually going over this football game, Kevin, in college. And I want your take on this because my name is Donnie Rightside, in case you guys didn't know. And I think I'm on the right side of this argument. Now, I told Ben about this. He didn't believe this was the case and figured it was the right thing to do, and this is how you play it out. Boise State, Utah State. If you want to hear me out. If you want to be serious about winning a Heisman Trophy at that type of school, I said, Ben, I don't know who the head coach is. He told me who it was, so don't remember. I said I fire that guy this morning if I'm Boise State. So Ben obviously upset with that, doesn't agree. 13 carries for 186. That's a game where I don't care if you had to score 105 points. G&T should have had 26 carries, 475 yards, and 7 touchdowns and said, I'm the Heisman Trophy winner. Nobody's going to take it from me because you're going to remember this night. And at the end of the season, when you see I have 2,400 rushing yards and 39 touchdowns, you're going to point to this game that said, I broke every single record possible, and I don't care what the other quarterback's done. Nobody has ever had a season like I had. Give me the Heisman. Missed opportunity Saturday night. And look, 13 for 186 and 3 is unbelievable. It really is. And he still should be the favorite right now. But when I talk about cementing yourself as the favorite, unless you run for Ollie Gordon type numbers the rest of the way, like 32 yards a game, you're winning this. What is your opinion on a 62-30 win where your guy only played a half and you're trying to get him the Heisman?
So I'm going to meet you in the middle. Okay. All right. I'm going to meet you in the middle. Jaden Daniels last year, and I know people can start their eye rolls. I was correct about this. I will always be correct about this. Jaden Daniels won a Heisman because of what he did against terrible football teams, because he lost every single big game that he played, right? And I hated it as he's out there in the third quarter throwing touchdown passes against Army and Georgia State and all that other garbage, right? So there's a degree where it becomes too much. But to meet you in the middle, Donnie, when I saw that Genty's stat line was not moving because I was checking in on the game, I was confused. While Boise State had 49 first-half points and were obviously going to win the game, I'm sorry, a 32-point halftime lead in college football is not close up shop in conference. Boise had the ball to start the second half. At minimum, he should have been in on that drive. That is not running it up. He only played in the first half against Portland State. Now, in my opinion, how do you not let him get a touchdown in the game? Again, I'll agree with you there. Donnie, I don't need him running around in the fourth quarter against backups, because at that point, then it becomes fake. It becomes fraudulent to me. But Donnie, the first drive of the third quarter, 32-point in-conference game, he absolutely is out there on the field if I'm Boise State.
Yeah, I saw that. And again, I understand there's something about, being competitive and it's not fair that you're busting up the other team. But when it's not like it's Alabama where it's like, we have a long list. We're going to win the SEC. You're going to be the best player on this team and you get those. You need to overcome such a bias that says, well, what happens if Miami runs the table in the regular season? Cam Ward has crazy numbers in a Power 5 conference. Like he automatically gets the nod, or any other top quarterback or dominant player on a dominant football team. Because people are always going to look and say, well, it's Boise State. He's not playing anybody. It's a competition. And what would he do if he runs every week in the SEC? Well, we don't know. But you know what you would know? You can't keep a Heisman Trophy away from the kid who broke every single record at his position, which includes like the Barry Sanders years when he won a Heisman Trophy back in the 1980s with Oklahoma State. I just saw that as a missed opportunity, because you really want to lead SportsCenter the next day. Yes, his highlights would be up there for that fantastic performance. But you slap a 400-yard rushing night and 6 touchdowns on the board, which he probably could have done that. And I'm pretty sure Utah State's going to be like, man, it's unfair. I can't believe you ran it up. Like, no, you have to stop. We're running the football, guy. We're not past. We're running the football, and you legitimately can't stop it. There's a different connotation to that than absolutely running 5 wides where everybody's wide open the entire game and you're stacking it up late.
Now, I want to make a quick point on Boise, though. And again, I don't really have much beef with anything you're saying there. Boise State, Donnie, has the potential to sneak in as one of the top 4 seeds in college football. With the chaos that we've seen, if they go 11-1 or 12-1 and win the Mountain West, and there is an upset in the Big 12 championship game, Donnie, because it's the 4 best, the G5 team is allowed to get one of the byes if they are ranked high enough. With the star power of Genty and all the eyeballs on them now, Boise State's perception is not just this kid. They're a top 20 team in college football right now.
Let the kid eat, Boise. Let him eat. By the way, great chat box out there so far. A lot of great information going forward. It's Moneyline on a Monday. More hot topics next. Keep the dial right here, Sirius XM, channel 159.
garden hose.
Ball's here. And SportsGrid has you covered with strategies and info on football, baseball, and everything else. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. Monday Night Football, the Chiefs and New Orleans Saints ready to battle in Kansas City. The Chiefs are 4-0 on the season. The Saints are 2-2. On the injury report, Clyde Edwards-Helaire listed as doubtful. The running back dealing with an illness. Mecole Hardman listed as questionable with a knee injury. Kareem Hunt, a full participant at practice on Saturday. He's expected to go. The running back dealing with a shoulder injury. A number of players are out for the Saints. Taysom Hill, Cesar Ruiz, Shane Lemieux, Peyton Turner, and Willie Gay Jr. Lucas Patrick and Pete Werner both listed as questionable. Kansas City will be without Rashee Rice for at least the next 4 games after he was placed on the injured reserve earlier this week. The wide receiver expected to go under a knee procedure. For the Saints, safety Tyrann Mathieu should play. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Shop Macy's VIP sale going on now. Use your coupon or Macy's card and take an extra 30% off the latest fall trends from designers that rarely go on sale. And save 15% off skincare, makeup, fragrances, and more. Plus, shop fall specials for even more great deals on top brands at Macy's. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
What's better than 1 win? 3 wins. With Straight Savings, you keep your own phone, get 1 line for only $25 a month with real unlimited data, and get rewarded with a $200 phone credit after 12 months. It's a win-win-win. Head to Walmart or visit straighttalk.com today. Switch to Straight Talk. Less dollars, more sense. Straight Savings Plan enrollment requires compatible unlocked device and new line of service. Bonus device credit requires 12 months of active service. Offer ends if eligibility requirements are no longer met. Taxes and fees apply. For network management practices, see Straight Talk's terms and conditions.
Right before your very eyes.
The boys of summer are about to become the champions of fall.
MLB playoffs are coming.
And SportsGrid will bring you all the angles, strategies, and info.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
By the way, we had unbelievable Major League Baseball yesterday. Philadelphia was absolutely rocking, and it was rocking to start that game as they blew a Zach Wheeler 1-0 lead the previous night in the 8th inning, only to find out in game number 2, unbelievable. The Mets get out to a 3-0 lead. The Phillies tied up. The Mets take it back. The Phillies take it back. The Mets tied up. The Phillies take it back in the bottom of the 9th. Playoff baseball is so spectacularly fun. And I was saying to myself yesterday, Kevin, and grant this, I'm watching the 49ers on my one TV, and then I have my other setup as a laptop, which I was streaming, watching the Phillies game. So I had the Red Zone on one TV and the Phillies on the other. And almost like simultaneously around halftime where I saw what was coming from Brock Purdy. And I said, you know what? I got to walk the dog. And at the same time, I just watched like a Pete Alonso home run. I got to go walk the dog. So I walk around the corner and I get the phone buzzes. Oh, look at that. Bryce Harper, 2 shot. Nick Castellanos ties it up. I'm like, all right, dog, we're turning around. We're going back home to catch this. And before I could get like 5 feet, it was like Nimmo home run 4-3. I'm like, I might as well just stay out here and not even go home. Did you catch any of the baseball game yesterday? That was theater at its finest.
I got some of it. I missed kind of a little bit of like the 9th inning, like the final of it all. I saw, what'd you say? It was Nimmo, right? Who made it 4-3 and
yes.
The trading of it all. I'll just, I'm telling you, man, had the Phillies lost that game, we would be gearing up towards me going absolutely nuts, man. I'm telling you, if it is Padres Mets in that stupid CS. And by the way, it's a great series, right? Like it's not like it's, Guardians Royals or like nobody's watching this. I'm not trying to pretend that Mets Padres is bad or not box office. It's not the point, man. If we get the 2 teams that were the best in the NL all year long and they with the bye and they are both eliminated again, I am going to go crazy. And let me just be clear. I have no wagers relating to the outcome, as I'm not salty or nothing. I'm going to go nuts, Donnie, if that's how this plays out.
I'm telling you how it's going to play out. San Diego's going to beat the Dodgers. I said it coming into the series. The Padres are the better team. They're better than the Dodgers. Why? Because they have a pitching staff, and the Dodgers don't. That was advantageous last night where they were going bombs crazy out there. And again, they're going to be the favorite in the game Tuesday because King is way better than Walker Buehler.
Again, the fact that that's the case obviously speaks volumes to what's happened to Walker Buehler, Donnie. But I think the Dodgers and their lineup, I mean, we saw it work out for them in game number 1. I mean, we just did, right? That lineup can hit. I can't look. Is King better than Walker Buehler at this point in time? Yes. But can Walker Buehler in a singular game do enough to get that Dodgers lineup across the finish line? I think so.
By the way,
Dennis, what are you making the number, Donnie?
Which
like
one?
I don't understand. What are you telling me that the Padres at home King versus Buehler should be? -175? What are you saying to me?
No, not that high. What is the number now? Like -140-ish? I think it is.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I haven't seen
I think there might. Let me see. I think it was -140s this morning. I don't have. Let me see. Let me just get FanDuel up here. So we'll go MLB. Phillies are a slight favorite, and then -146 for the Padres. Yeah, I think that's about right. Like, I think that's that big of a mismatch at that point. Because coming in, I think the Padres have a starting staff on point with Philadelphia, a bullpen that's probably better than Philadelphia, and a 1-9 that can match Philadelphia. For me, it was the Phillies and the Padres I thought would be advancing there. So it's not a surprise to me that now the Padres are the favorites in that series. Same thing as the Philadelphia Phillies, even though they're both 1-1. Phillies going on the road, but every time the Phillies take the mound in a series against the Mets, they'll have the better pitcher. That's why you're always going to have that advantage. And now the Padres are turning home with the better pitcher and a heavier favorite. I think they get it done. I do. And by the way, throwing the baseballs, the trash on the field, Tatis just taunting the fans. I love it, man. Those teams can't stand each other, and I think it's fantastic. Now, here's the issue. When you're looking at playoff baseball, right, because most people saw the New York Knicks fans come down and invade the 76ers arena, the Wells Fargo, in the playoffs. So I know a lot of Phillies fans were playing, we can't have first of all, there's no take. Like, Philadelphia has the best home field advantage in baseball with the best fans. Silence. You couldn't even hear Mets fans. Couldn't even see Mets fans at the ballpark. Yeah. So yesterday moving forward. But here's the difference. If there were a lot of Mets fans and the Mets coming down and take game number 1, game number 2, that would have been a bloody scene down there on both sides. The Mets fans now have home field advantage, and there'll be very few Phillies fans up there, unless maybe it's clinching in, the next game and Phillies fans want to buy tickets and vice versa. But West Coast, Kevin, those Dodger fans, that's going to be like a 60-40 ballpark down there in favor of the Padres. If they're lucky, that is going to be awesome television to watch between those two fan bases and those two teams that hate each other, man.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. I think you're getting a little bit of that extra juice in Major League Baseball with these two rivals meeting one another, right?
Yeah.
It feels like, and that's right, the benefit of the Mets being able to advance through, the benefit of getting two teams that play in the same division and keeping it close somewhat locally. I definitely agree with that. I will say the playoff format's a little wonky, not format, schedule to me. Like, I don't really understand the American League. I understand that they were off yesterday because they maybe didn't. But you won against the NFL. Like, I don't know. You could have done a double up, taken the Monday off, ripped it Tuesday, Wednesday. You're clear of the NFL.
I love it because there's no Eagles game, so I thought it was perfect for me. I thought it was fantastic. 4 o'clock game. And by the way, Kevin, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm going to double down.
I was just going to say, couldn't they have done baseball throughout the day? Like, what would have been the difference if why weren't all 4 series going yesterday?
I guess they wanted the travel day to make sure each team had a chance to, get out of town and travel and not have a back-to-back at that point. What do you mean? First, they played Saturday, Sunday, right?
Right. No, but why didn't the American League play yesterday? Like, that didn't make any sense.
But I guess they want the two and make sure they have 2 games on each day. You know what I mean?
Honestly, I think they'd have been better off punting tonight and then having full slate Tuesday, full slate Wednesday. Like, just, I don't know. Are leagues like unaware of the NFL? Like, let me just say this right now quickly because
WNBA.
Donnie, I swear I'm going to go nuts. This league, Game 5, is on a Sunday night, and it just so happens the Sunday night game, Steelers-Jets. It won't even be the biggest game. Like, it's just it's so bad. It is so bad. Donnie, it's 5 games, and 2 of them are on Sunday. How is that?
I don't think there's any pre-planning in that league whatsoever, which, again, your design is to go toe-to-toe with the NFL in your biggest moments. Now, granted, Caitlin Clark's out of it now. It's going to be interesting to see the ratings of the earlier, which never happens. Hey, the early round playoffs were way higher than the WNBA finals. We're actually going to get that, is what's going to take place. But from a Phillies fan perspective for me, Kevin, day game Saturday, day game Sunday, day game on Tuesday, and then you have a day game on Thursday, which is absolutely spectacular. And like today, a 4 o'clock game and a 7:30 game. Oh, they are listening to me, K-Dub.
Yeah, I saw your tweet saying this is perfect for the working man. It's just such a good
correct.
tweet.
It's
Such a good tweet, man. It's again because in the Donnie world is the working man is just Donnie's schedule. It's not anybody.
Yeah, got to get to bed early. Got to get up early. You can't be staying up late to watch these games, man. It's like they formulate a schedule. Say, Donnie, send in your SportsGrid, number, or send your SportsGrid calendar and say, where can you work, where can you can't work, where would you like to watch these games? I think I actually sent that in. I was like, here's what I think makes sense. No night games for a Philadelphia market and a New York market. Just play them all in the afternoon. I'm like, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. So I can appreciate where baseball is coming from. But I'm enjoying it so far. Yankees got a game tonight, Rodon versus Reagans, 7.5 total. And how about Detroit and Cleveland tonight? A 6 total number with Skubal on the mound. I don't know who's getting base hits in that game, but this one feels like, Kevin, right? For me, I said, you know what? I would take Skubal, lay the minus 130, even though Detroit bats can't hit any left-handed pitching whatsoever, and Boyd's a decent pitcher. But sometimes this game has to feel like, I wouldn't be surprised if this was 7-6 and be like, they hung a 6 up there, knowing everybody still wanted the under, but yet that game had 15 runs in it.
I just can't believe that he's minus 130 in Cleveland. Like, I understand that that's where probably all the bets are, Donnie.
Yeah.
Like, you're telling me that the Detroit Tigers are road favorites against, I don't know, that's crazy. That is a crazy number.
It is. Then your boy Rodon's on the mound. He actually has decent numbers over the past 60 days, but can't get out right-handed batters.
Reagans.
Yeah, the Royals, one left-handed batter, all righties, matches up perfect. Neither one of those guys on the Royals can hit a damn worth of left-handed pitching. So 4 lefties on the mound today, people. Kevin's going to carry the rest of the way home. I got to get to the dentist, and then I'm on the way into the studio. Big doings here on the SportsGrid Network. Make sure you hang on with old K-Dubs here. Close it out in style. Chat box, you're awesome. Keep doing what you do. Kevin is up next. Peace.
Yeah, it's getting cooler.
Football weather is here.
Stay tuned for all the latest odds, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Progressive presents the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders. The Cowboys held on to beat the Steelers 20-17 in Pittsburgh last night. Both teams are 3-2 with the result. The start of the game delayed due to weather in Pittsburgh. Dallas pulled ahead with 20 seconds left in regulation. It was a 4-yard pass from Dak Prescott to Jalen Tolbert. In overtime, the Ravens beat the Bengals 41-38. Cincinnati drops to 1-4 on the season, 0-3 at home. 5 touchdown passes in the loss for Joe Burrow, 30 of 39 passing, 392 yards. The Ravens won it on a Justin Tucker 24-yard field goal. The Commanders beat the Browns 34-13. Cleveland drops to 1-4 on the season. Deshaun Watson got sacked 7 times for a loss of 33 yards. ALDS Game 2 today. The Guardians host the Tigers. Cleveland up 1-0 in the best of 5. Bundle auto and home, renters or condo, and save with Progressive. That's the SportsGrid Sports Flash. I'm Chuck Sanders.
Moments like my daughter telling me a new joke mean a lot to me. But after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib.
Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
When the weather cools off, Major League Baseball playoffs heat up.
Sit tight.
The World Series is coming. Keep it here for every bit of the action with strategies and information
to give you the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
All right, folks, what do we say? Closing out Moneyline on a Monday. DRS heading to the dentist. A little reminder that maybe you need a dentist appointment. This is where we would insert our dentist sponsor if anybody wants to jump in the mix. Man, I got to tell you, yesterday's NFL was annoying. Eagles were on bye, too, so it had nothing to do with that. Again, just kind of, some of that parlay fun ended up not being as fun. That's how that stuff goes. We know that. But the result that bothered me the most was Niners Cardinals. There's push and pull. So I am invested in the Philadelphia Eagles to win the Super Bowl. That was the preseason pick, fandom and everything. I understand that people think that could be muddy waters, but that's preseason where I felt the best number was. And a team like the San Francisco 49ers struggling is great for that bet. I mean, if you really look around the NFC, Minnesota's 5-0, although you started to see some of that cracks in the game against the Jets. They are good. They are not 5-0 good, in my opinion. The Detroit Lions have been very good this year. Dallas with a huge, huge win to get back up to 3-2. Commanders have been rolling. But if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, the top team still via the market in the NFC is the San Francisco 49ers. So them dropping another game that they shouldn't have lost, by the way. If you look at their losses this season, of the 3, 2 of them, they had double-digit fourth-quarter leads. They had in-game win probabilities of over 85% in this game here against the Cardinals and another in-division game against the LA Rams. So that loss, again, I should view as a positive. And yet, due to the fact that I was able to get to the window on a Brock Purdy MVP ticket earlier this week, I am unbelievably annoyed. Because, again, I look around the league right now at the MVP race. Just canvass the race. Mahomes is the favorite. He's not been good. But they're unbeaten, and he's Pat Mahomes. But that's a very soft favorite, right? You can puncture that. Josh Allen was creeping up. They lost again. Shifts that C.J. Stroud number, rightfully so. But C.J.'s not having a monster eye-popping year. Again, it's the record that's carrying a lot of that water, which is why Sam Darnold is in the conversation. We know that that's soft. You'll notice Lamar Jackson's numbers moving up a lot. Lamar has a very real argument for league's MVP. I don't know if he's about to rip off a second in a row. It's going to take a level of dominance from Lamar Jackson that I'm not sure is in range. So I think that that's, again, movable. Burrow has a really short price when you consider they're 1-4. He's worthy of it statistically, but it's the inverse of Darnold and Mahomes. The record's going to give him absolutely no chance, it feels like. Jaden Daniels, 4-1, great statistics, a lot of efficiency. Is a rookie going to win league's MVP? You struggle to believe that. So for my Brock Purdy bet, again, I canvassed the names in front of him. Forget having a great game against Arizona. And he should have had a great game, by the way. Again, Kyle Shanahan kind of conservative, lock things up a little bit. This team should have been going. He's taking field goals when he doesn't need to. You've got the superstars out there. Brock Purdy is on a heater to open this game up. Go put up 7, and then put up 7 again, and then put up 7 again. So he gets shut out in the second half against the Arizona Cardinals? Come on now. That cannot be. But again, forget having a 300 passing, 3 passing touchdown game. Just win the game. And they can't do that. And again, Brock Purdy's number. Here's how bad the rest of the MVP race is. Brock's number didn't move that much. I played an 18-1. I believe on the same book, it's 20-1. And on another book, I think it's still 18. Brock's not even eliminated from the MVP race. He plays a Thursday nighter against the Seattle Seahawks on the road. If they win that, they shoot back up to 3-3, right? And they'll have a piece of the divisional lead in some capacity, right? Depending on what happens, Arizona's going to go to Green Bay. I believe the Rams on bye? Let me double check that. Let's double check if the LA Rams are on bye. The Rams are 1-4 anyway, so it wouldn't matter. The Rams are going to be playing the Vegas Raiders in 2 weeks' time. Yeah. So again, with a win, this team could have sole control of first place because of the tiebreakers. At minimum, again, they'd be sat there fine. And then the Chiefs are on deck, which is the big one. So again, Brock's not done. He should have made a lot of inroads. And if you look at that MVP market, man, here's what I'd say. You either bet Pat or you look for 10-1 or greater. That's kind of how I feel about it. Because for Pat, I don't think he's playing that well, Mahomes. But since nobody really is, if the Chiefs win 14 games, whether he's playing well or not, I mean, he's probably going to win the. Like if they win tonight, we're getting a lot of the topics and everything. If they win tonight, right, he's going to see his number drop, no matter really what the stats are. I mean, unless they win and he throws like 3 picks, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, if you look at it, 230 passing yards, nothing to write home about, plus money to throw 2 passing touchdowns. You used to have to bet 2.5s on Pat every single time. Again, so the ballpark numbers tonight for Mahomes leaves this game 215 passing, 1 passing touchdown, 17-14 victory, no cover, right? His number's going to still grow shorter. That's just what it is. We've seen it. We've seen it with this race. But that's, again, it's a vulnerable case. I still think that Pat has, but that's the case across the board. So be smart if you're betting in that MVP market, man. Be smart. Try and pick your spot, because I'm not touting the Purdy pick, but the reason I wanted to bet someone at that number is even in he 1 touchdown, 2 picks against the Cardinals. His number still hardly moved, right? So at least we know that we're still at the same starting point, which, beggars can't be choosers. We'll take that for what it is. Let's poke around quickly before we get out of here on a Monday, and I know we'll do a lot of this tomorrow as well, solo style. But let's poke around, man, that college football futures market moving after a wild, wild weekend.
The boys of summer become the champions of fall.
The World Series is on its way.
And SportsGrid brings you every angle. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and Sirius XM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern. And Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi. Then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The early line.
What would happen if you signed a guy like Gardner Minshew where Tua goes down? You would beat teams like the Tennessee Titans, and you would beat teams like the New England Patriots. The one thing you have to account for in the NFL now is to get a solid backup quarterback, specifically if your quarterback has concussion issues. I can't believe they dropped the ball so bad that Huntley is their quarterback, and he is terrible.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
No way football is playing in the fall and winter.
Because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on all the sports action coming up right here.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
All right, let's make it happen, man. College football. Woo! College football's been awesome. College football presents us with a slate that on the surface looks like it won't even be good, and it leads to chaos. And then they follow it up with what should maybe, to this point, will be their most anticipated slate. All right? You go through the games. You've got Bama off of that loss to Vanderbilt. All right, boom, immediate intrigue. They host South Carolina. Red River rivalry. Texas, Oklahoma go head-to-head, as does USC hosting Penn State off the loss. That is a monster game. You have Ohio State and Oregon, one of the most anticipated preseason matchups of the year. You have LSU hosting Ole Miss, and you have even a surprisingly huge game in the Big 12 with Colorado hosting K-State off of their bye. All of those games will have college football playoff implications. If you look at the make college football playoff market, and I'm actually going to head over to FanDuel here just to pull this up right now. If you look on that book, minus 500 or better to make the CFP. Ohio State, minus 1,600. Little strong when you consider they've not even played a danger game. If they beat Oregon, that should be fine. I think they're making it. I'm just saying 16-1 is very strong. Maybe you factor in what's happened elsewhere in college football and say, listen, this team could afford 3 losses. I don't know if they could, but 16-1 looks a little strong. Texas, minus 1,100. And that's kind of that would be the reference point to show you Ohio State's, again, a tick strong. Texas so far has the win over Michigan, even if it doesn't look all that impressive anymore, right? Texas has been winning comfortably with a backup quarterback. Arch Manning, I know, has a lot of pedigree, but still, Quinn Ewers is supposed to be their guy. It shows also that Texas has a more difficult schedule remaining, I think, more than anything than Ohio State does. But is that even true? I believe the Texas remaining schedule is the Red River rivalry, hosting Georgia, and playing Texas A&M. Ohio State's comparisons would be at Oregon, at Penn State, and hosting Michigan. So again, Ohio State a little strong, but I expect them to make it. Oregon, minus 800. Dogs this week, that number would drop, but if you look at it for the Ducks, again, a trip to Michigan doesn't look all that scary. They don't have to play Penn State. They don't have to play USC. The Ducks should be in a very good spot to make the CFP. Georgia, minus 500, a loss already on their plate, but that loss at Alabama is certainly nothing to hang their heads over. Handled business against Auburn. That near loss to Kentucky is a thing of distant memory, especially since Kentucky ended up beating Ole Miss. It doesn't look that bad. Don't forget, Georgia absolutely drilled Clemson. That is sneaky, maybe the best win that the CFP season has offered with the way that Clemson football has looked up until this point there. And then there's Alabama, who loses to Vanderbilt, who is still minus 500 to make the college football playoff. And that is certainly a reflection of the losses that took place throughout the landscape, right? Tennessee could have been in line to jump them. They lose to Arkansas. Missouri was inside the top 10. Well, instead they got absolutely destroyed in that game by Texas A&M. They fall out of the top 20. We saw another drop for the Michigan Wolverines, who were inside the top 10. We saw USC 11th absolutely plummet. Right? Ole Miss already has a loss. Clemson already has a loss. LSU has a loss to USC. So Alabama in the AP poll is 7th, despite losing to Vanderbilt. So perhaps that minus 500 number would be justified. Except, if you take a look now at Alabama, and look, I know people know me as a Milroe guy, and that is accurate, but they nearly blew that game to Georgia. And they just lost to Vanderbilt. At Tennessee, they might be dogs in that game. Host Missouri. I know they're not that good, but it's not easy. At LSU, could be dogs in that game. At Oklahoma, not going to be a cakewalk. And the Iron Bowl, Alabama plus 400 to miss the college football playoff is a number that I am now heavily considering as I don't think they've fallen far enough after that loss to Vanderbilt. We'll talk more tomorrow, right back here solo style on Moneyline.
Fall is here.
It's getting cooler.
Football and the World Series are coming in.
Life is good. SportsGrid makes it better.
Get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.